Do you remember the bubble bag 3-in-1? It was a small cute bag, and now it's time to make something bigger. This is the big bubble. It's a large backpack and the same design as the 3-in-1 bubble bag, but there are a few differences. You can either make this like the classical version, exactly the same, just in a very tall size, or you can add a front zipper that will give you more access to the front pocket. The other difference is that you can make the side pockets with an elastic top, so it's more practical for water bottles. Or you just choose the classic side pockets that are just regular slip pockets. But before we start, we take a look at all the details. The flap and the front slip pockets still remain the same. We also have a handle, but the new part is the front zipper pocket. We have slip pockets here on the side that you can change to elastic top pockets as well. If we open up the front, you can see everything clearly now without just sticking your hand into the side zipper as we did before. On the interior, you find a slip pocket and a zipper pocket. The handle, in the ebook I'll make a description on how to make this from just one piece of fabric. In this version I'll show you how to add webbing to it. This is the main compartment. We do have a slip pocket as well, and we have a laptop pocket with an elastic top, so if you insert your laptop, it won't like flip over, fall out. I first started adding Velcro, but I didn't like it, so I decided I wanted to have an elastic top for the interior laptop pocket. So if we turn the big bubble around, we can see that this one has proper straps, because the original pattern just had the D-rings attached so you can hook them too. These straps are padded with foam and webbing added to them. I bound the edges. If you want to, you can skip that too and make this a slimmer strap by turning it right side out. But this is totally up to you. This is your bag and you decide what the finished look's gonna be like. So let's get started. There's a lot of stuff to do right now. First, we will start with preparing our pattern pieces and our materials. Please download your files to your computer. I suggest you make an extra file for all of your patterns so where you can find them easily. And then you open up this PDF file. Make sure you've downloaded the right version, because I have this in a metrics or in inch and yards. When it comes to scaling, you have to adjust the size of the pattern to actual size or 100%. And I suggest you to only print out the pages that you need for the pattern pieces, not the whole instruction, because you can have this on your laptop, on your iPad, on whatever device to read the instruction. Now I'll show you what I've used to make my bubble bag. I've used cotton for lining, and this is an outdoor fabric in solid color and an outdoor fabric for my contrast color, which is basically going to be like almost the whole backpack. Let's talk interfacing. I know that's a big issue. I use interfacing for my lining pieces, G700. If you use like a waterproof lining, you don't need this actually. This will just give it more strength. When it comes to the main pieces, I use Decophyllite, but in this case, I've skipped the volume fleece because this is a large backpack, it's gonna be heavy. I will use foam for the straps. This is a thick foam that I use for the straps and a slightly thinner foam for my back, so the laptop pocket is cushioned a little bit. We do need webbing, we need endless zipper tape, we do need a lot of bias tape because this bag comes with a lot of binding. So I hope you're ready for that. We need elastic band. This is 3 centimeters wide. And we do need 2 backpack sliders that have like 2, so you can insert 2 pieces of webbing. we do need 5 zipper pulls for our endless zipper tape and 1 magnetic snap. This is quite tiny. I wouldn't suggest to go larger than 1 centimeter, 10 millimeter. Some pattern pieces need special cutting and preparing because the straps will have a top and a bottom, all from the same piece, so you do have to cut this mirrored. They will be basted together, wrong sides together, so make sure you cut 1 set of each if you use different fabrics for the top and the bottom. The top pieces will be interfaced with Decophyllite, the bottom pieces won't. When it comes to the side pieces, like these pieces right here, piece B, they have a curve and they need to be cut mirrored as well. So when it comes to lining and main fabrics, you will need 2 sets. If you like to make the original style bubble back with a zipper included in the side pocket and not the long zipper like this one you see, you do need to cut the classic B piece and cut out the gap only from Decophyllite, but it's totally up to you. So when it comes to the handle, we have the J piece. So you cut this from 1 piece of fabric and make a 4 fold. So you have 4 layers folded on top of each other and then top stitch. I like to try something else in this pattern. I like to use webbing as my base and the contrast fabric as a top. So my top is slightly smaller, so I want the webbing to peek out on the sides. So instead of 10 centimeters, I will just cut this in a smaller size, like 4 centimeters wide, and then I will place something in the main fabric. I use Vigofill. This is from Upholstery, but you can also use Decophyllite as well if you don't have this or don't know this type of interfacing. This is just really cheap and it's non-adhesive. When it comes to piece C, you will need 2 lining pieces. You might wonder, like, why is this the outer fabric? Because I just want to have an accent. You can see this under the flap. So my bottom piece will be regular lining and the top piece from C will be made from outer fabric just without interfacing, since the flap and the front slip pocket, they already have interfacing, so that's basically enough. The L piece will come in 2 sets or 4 types of lining fabric. So that's up to you. If you want some contrast, you can also cut 2 from your exterior fabric. But first we will start with the front piece. So this is like almost the complete front piece that we're going to be making. So we have the flap and attached the sides. We have a slip pocket on the interior and bound edges. And you might wonder, like, why do I have to bind this? We can turn this, right? Or we can sew this together in a different way. I do not suggest it, because if you put something in the slip pocket, the lining will bounce around in your front pocket and will not stick to the main fabric. Okay, so of course you can do that if you want that, but I don't suggest it. Simply, that's just the reason for it. It won't sit in the back nicely because it's curved. Okay, so we will start making the front now, and I just show you all the materials that I needed to make the front before we add the front zipper. So I will start with attaching the magnetic snap. So use your pattern piece or mark it centered, and you will mark the slip pocket main fabric and the flap lining fabric, not the main fabric. Okay, so put the marking on your pieces and then insert the magnetic snap. This is the female part. It has the hole. It will go on the slip pocket, and the other part, the male part, will be attached to the flap lining piece. I like to use some Decophyllite underneath my lining fabric because it tends to fray easily. You could also add like a tiny dab of fray check, but I just prefer it like that. And then on top, when the part is installed, I just fuse some more Decophyllite on top, just to be safe that it won't scratch my lining fabrics with the metal and damage this, for example. So we'll move on with piece E, and we place the lining and main pieces right sides together and sew the top edge with 1 centimeter 3/8 inch seam allowance. Then we fold the fabric's wrong sides together and top stitch the top edge. Now we repeat the same step with the flap, main and lining pieces, but we don't need to sew together the whole flap, just the bottom with the edges with the corners. Start right here. 1 centimeter, 3/8 inch seam allowance, and then we will clip the corners as close into the corner as possible without hurting the seam. And then we will trim the curved seam allowance a little bit with pinking shears. Now it's time to turn the flap right side out. Use a tool for the curves, especially the curves and the corners, so that everything shapes well. Give it a press and then top stitch. So the flap is done. We will now assemble it with the C piece. That will be my outer fabric in this case. So I will place it right side up, then place the slip pocket right side up as well, and I make sure that the top edge sits straight. I secure it with clips, and then I will close the magnetic snap from the flap on top and secure this with clips as well. Then we will set this aside and we will take care of the second C piece and one set of L pieces. So for some contrast, instead of 2 lining L pieces, I made one from main fabric, but I skipped any interfacing. I sew the 2 pieces together, right sides together, with 1 centimeter seam allowance, 3/8 inch. I trim the corners, the top corners, and the seam allowance of the curved sections. Turn the piece right side out, shape all corners and curves, and then give it a press. Fold the seam allowance from the opening inwards, give it a press, and top stitch the top edge. Now we will place it on the remaining C piece. This is right side up, so place it centered on your C piece, 15 centimeters, 6 inches from the bottom edge, and mark the center because we will make a divided slip pocket. If you don't want to divide it, just be aware that this might flop down if you have stuff in the slip pocket. So that's personal preference. If you don't mind, of course you can make a bigger section as well. Then place it on the other C piece so they are wrong sides together and based along all edges. So the center from our front is done. We will now take care of our side pieces, the curved ones, the B pieces. So did you make the zipper or without the zipper? If this is without the zipper, just place them wrong sides together, one main, one lining, and baste them together. Anyhow, if you choose to make the classical version, like with these side zipper pockets, I will now show you how to make them. And then you can proceed exactly the same way as we continue in this video instruction. So you would need the B piece. You will cut out 2 sets mirrored of lining and main fabrics and use the dotted lines to prepare the decophyllite pieces. The decophyllite has the gap, as I said, and you need to cut it mirrored too. Okay? So here you can see I will show you how to make both pieces, but I will make one and you make both the same way. So you place main and lining right sides together and sew them together along the edge of the gap from the decophyllite. So do not sew through the decophyll, just really close next to it, and then cut the center line and let this cut end and begin in a V shape. So cut as close into the corners as possible without cutting into the seams. When that is done, you can push the lining fabric through the hole and shape it well and give it a press. See, we have this gap here and we will attach a zipper to it. So the zipper thread a zipper on is 28 centimeters or 11 inches, and it needs to close towards the top. That's important, close towards the top. So place the gap centered over the spiral and sew them together by sewing a rectangle around the gap. And this is how you prepare both pieces, just mirrored, and then baste together lining and main. Just to be safe, everything stays in place. So this is how you would do the zipper pocket. So let's move on. Either if you have a zipper attached or not right now, on the sides we will attach these sides to the center. So the curved side edge will go to the center. And I will show you two different ways, and I strongly suggest you to take option 2, simply because it will save you some bulk later on when assembly is going to happen. So I will make some small snips into the sides where the C piece, the center, is above the curves. So I will place it on there like that and start at the bottom and baste these pieces together first. So align the bottom edges and just focus on the fabric that's right in front of your needle. Don't focus too much on they're not being like stuck together with pins. We're just gonna do this slowly, simple, based with a long stitch. So make sure that the outside edges just align perfectly at the point where you stitch. The back will lift up because it's a curve. Yeah, I know this might be a hard part, but you got this. So this is option 1 if you don't measure large amounts of bulks. So next I will place the bias tape on top. As you can see, the curved piece, the B piece, is on top. So I place the bias on top, and then I will sew with 1 centimeter 3/8 inch. And while I sew the pieces together with the correct seam allowance, I automatically add the bias tape. This can be a bit tough on the big curve, but if you go slow and just stitch by stitch, you should manage. If you find it hard to sew this with 1 centimeter seam allowance, you can sew with 7 millimeter as well. But it's important that the beginning and the end of your stitching should be 1 centimeters. Otherwise, your front will be too large. So when you choose this method, it's quicker, it's easier. Yeah, let's say it's just less steps. You'll end up with one problem, because we will now close the bias tape over the raw edges, and then we have this like big thick seam allowance package bound, and you'd have to fold it to either the left or the right when you assemble it with the next piece. So what I did is I found another way on how to save some bulks just at the beginning and the end of your seam, and I will now show you how I will do that on the second side piece. So remember, we made snips here, so it's a bit easier to connect these two raw edges. So align them on top of each other and secure them with clips. And now we will baste first as well, and then we will sew with the correct seam allowance, but we won't attach the bias tape yet. So first we will baste, then we will sew with the correct seam allowance. If you feel secure enough to skip the basting, be bold, be brave. I can't do this, so I rather do the basting stitch first. See, now we've sewed this with the correct seam allowance, and we will use the bias, And then we won't attach it to the first 3 centimeters, 1/4 of an inch, and to the last ones. So it doesn't have to be exactly 3 centimeters. It's just that we leave the beginning and the end without the bias tape. See, we have this beginning part here. So I will open up the basting stitch. Just the basting stitches, not the correct seam allowance stitches. We just want to be able to fold the seam allowance open. So when we close the bias, we start somewhere at the center, just fold it towards the raw edge, fold over again and secure with clips. And when we get to the front and the beginning and the end, we will open the seam allowance like this. We fold it open, secure it with clips, and the bias tape, we fold the raw edges to the center and just place it above to cover the folded seam allowance. And you know, we will begin stitching the top stitching like where it's possible. Don't forget to lock your stitch, and then we will make some basting stitches at the edge where the bias tape and the folded open seam allowance, where they meet each other. We will just baste them together so everything stays in place. So don't be concerned about the finished look. This will be like hidden a little bit. It's not like obvious, but I do think if everything is covered nicely, it still looks nice. And I will show you the comparison when I'm done. It's so much flatter than just method number 1. So which one will you make? Just comment, let me know if you tried this technique and if you like it or not, if this works better for you. I know most of you have like regular sewing machines, not industrial ones, so this will be very helpful for you. So when you have this next to each other, you can see the difference. See, this is the whole package right here. You have to fold it to the side and you have this thick bump, and this is nice and flat, don't you think? So let's move on. There's another decision you have to make. Do you want to add the zipper pocket? So for the classical version, you won't need it. You just skip this step now. We will now focus on how to attach the front zipper pocket or the long zipper. So if you attach the zipper to the sides, you don't need this. So we will take a zipper, it's 35 inches long, 89 centimeters, and we will attach 2 sliders on it. We do need bias as well, and the K pieces in main and lining. So we will attach main K piece, right sides together with the zipper, place the lining underneath, right side on, up, and we sew the short end with 1 centimeter, 3/8 inch. Now we repeat the same thing on the other short end, just make sure that your zipper is not twisted. Sew this as well, and then turn your gusset right side out. Give it a top stitch and baste together the long edges as well. So what I like to do is I like to attach my bias tape to the gusset first. So we just need one edge to be bound right now. So do not attach it to both sides. I will place it on the inside of my gusset and I will baste it on there in a curve starting and ending like this. If you need more details, infos, and you never tried it, I've added the link to the binding video in the ebook, so you can click that too and try it out if you haven't. Or of course, if you want to do like fold over elastics, you'd have to bind this at the end in your style, so do not attach it, okay? Then we will mark the top and the bottom centers on both edges, and the top and bottom center on our assembled front, and then we will attach, ouch, I cut myself. We will attach this gusset to the front. So choose the edge with the bias tape attached. Align the top center first, open the zipper, it's easier like that. And then I will start with the top, and then I will attach the bottom centers, right sides together. And then I will make small snips into the gusset where it's right above the curved sections. And I will take my time and align all outer edges and clip them together, secure them with clips. until I have everything arranged nicely. Then I will sew this. I baste first, of course, you know me. Then I will sew this with 7mm seam allowance. And then, since I've attached the bias already, I can simply fold it over and do the binding now. Close the binding. If you didn't attach it, you would have to do this now in your way. So this edge is bound, so we can set this piece aside. Just make sure that all the seams look nice. Give it like a small checkup. Look at everything you've done, and then maybe close the zipper and check it again. Admire your work. This was hard. So set it aside. We will move on now. Now we take care of the lining pieces that will be in between the front pocket and the main compartment. So here you can see all the pieces that we're going to need now. And we make a zipper pocket and a slip pocket on the interior. And the zipper pocket will be accessible from the front pocket, but we will start with the slip pocket. So take the remaining L pieces, right sides together, sew them with 1 centimeter, but leave an opening at the bottom edge. Then trim the top corners and the curved seam allowance on the bottom. Turn this piece right side out, shape it, fold the seam allowance inwards, and give it a press and top stitch. We will make this divided as well, so mark the center and then simply stitch it on 1A lining piece. So right side up, and 5 centimeters, 2 inches from the bottom edge, centered. Now stitch it on there, and I'll divide it with the stitch line as well. Now for the zipper pocket. Draw a rectangle on the wrong side. I'm sorry. On the wrong side of the facing. I also mark my center line, which I will cut later on. But first I will just draw the rectangle, and then I place the facing on the remaining A lining piece, right sides together, centered, and 10 centimeters, 4 inches from the top edge. I will sew the 2 pieces together along the drawn rectangle. Next, cut the center line, but not all the way because your cut needs to end and start in a V shape. Cut as close into the corners as possible without cutting into the seams. Then push the facing through the hole, shape out all the edges and corners, and press it. Now we will make the zipper pocket itself. So take your zipper and the 2 lining pieces. The zipper is 24 centimeters, 9.5 inches. Mine is a tiny bit longer. So place the lining piece right side up and the zipper right side up, and sew the top edge with 7mm seam allowance, 1/4 inch. Fold the zipper away from the fabric and repeat the same step with the second lining piece. Place the zipper upwards like this, so the lining is wrong side up and the zipper is right side up, and place the gap on the A piece centered over the zipper coil so you can align the panel and the fabric from the zipper pocket on the side edges. And then sew the 2 pieces together by stitching a rectangle around the zipper. Then fold the upper piece down and cut off the extra fabric on the bottom piece. Now you can sew together the side and bottom edges with 1 centimeter seam allowance. So the panel, the facing, will be sewn in as well, but not the A piece. So now we prepared our 2 A pieces, and we will put them together, wrong sides together, and baste them together along all outer edges so nothing can shift. Don't forget to mark your centers on the top and bottom. So we will have the zipper pocket inside the front pocket. So make sure it's right side up and then place the front on top. It's easier if you open up the zipper, and again you start by aligning the center points. So start at the top and the bottom and then work your way around the whole piece, aligning all outer edges. Make small snips into the zipper gusset piece, so the K pieces with the zipper, where it's right above the bottom curves. Make sure they're just small, that they will disappear in the seam allowance, and your fabric is not like very fraying a lot. And then use a lot of clips just to align everything. Nothing should be like shifting, and then you can baste these two pieces together. So this looks great. Give it like a check, close the zipper and have a look at it, and then set it aside, and we will move on with the next part. So when it comes to the side pockets, you can choose whether you want the elastic top or the classic side pockets. I will show you both versions, and we will start with the elastic top one. So it has a lot of different parts, so make sure you don't get them mixed up. See, this is just slightly smaller, and the décolleté for the exterior is just a slim thing. You can get the orientation of the size and everything, placement from the pattern piece, okay? The dotted lines. So we will have a tunnel here for this, and we will prepare those two pieces first. So use the décolleté as a fold guide and give it a press, and take this small piece right here, the side edges, fold them 1 centimeter over to the wrong size and give it a press as well. So these folds that we created, we will top stitch them from the top on both edges on each piece, like really close to the edge. And then we will mark the center. I will just try to find out like which side I prefer. So this is why I fold it and hold it against it, so I can see what I like better. So I like this side better. Okay, so I've marked the centers and I place them right sides together on the center marking and baste this in place first. Then I will take the top right here, and I also want to see which side I prefer. And then I will place this right sides together and sew the top edge with 1 centimeter seam allowance, 3/8 inches seam allowance, and then I will fold it up, but the seam allowance should go like downwards. It should look downwards, since we will top stitch on the bottom piece. And we will baste together the top edge as well. Now we will take the lining piece, place it on top, right sides together, and sew the top edge with 1 centimeter, 3/8 inch as well, and then top stitch on the lining piece. Now fold the piece in half, wrong sides together, align all edges, and baste them together. It can be a tiny bit hard because it will pull inwards the outer fabric that we top stitch, but you'll line them and baste it together. You can iron the top edge if you like, you don't have to though. So next, mark the center, and also mark the center on the F piece. This will be the base, either if you have the side pocket with the elastic top or if you have the classic side pocket. First, align it to the left side edge and baste in place. Then repeat with the other side edge. Make sure the top edge is straight. Now align the bottom centers. We will now create 2 folds. So just go slow, align the bottom edge and fold this inwards, like creating a fold on the bottom on each side. Make sure that the centers stay aligned. And then baste everything in place. So simply baste the bottom edge together. Next, we will need a piece of elastic. So mine is 16 centimeters. It's 6.5 inches. And then thread it through this tunnel right here. Align the side edges and baste in place. And this is how the elastic top pocket is done. So it's a little bit better for bottles. But of course, I will show you how to do the classic side pockets. These are just regular slip pockets. So you need 3 pieces only for the whole piece. So you place the side pockets right sides together and sew the top edge with 1 centimeter 3/8 inch. Fold the fabrics wrong sides together and top stitch the top edge. Now we will attach it to the F main piece. So align on the bottom edge first and then on the left side up, so that all edges in an L kind of shapes are basted together first, like this. And next, align the other side edge and make sure that the top edge is straight. Baste in place as well, and the classic side pocket is done. Of course, you'd have to make a second one. So which one will you choose? The elastic top or the classic version? I decided to go with the classic version for this backpack. So it looks more like the bubble bag, the original pattern. And we will take them and create the gusset. So we have our main zipper, we do have our pieces for the handle, the bottom, the side pieces, the main and lining, and we will need bias, of course, lots of bias. I hope you don't hate me after this, okay? Because it has so much binding, but binding is just great to give the back structure. So I like it, I'm sorry. So we will attach the side main pieces to the bottom piece with 1 centimeter seam allowance, and we will give it a top stitch on the bottom piece, or you can fold the seam allowance open, it's up to you. I will top stitch them on the bottom, and for the lining the other way around, so it will equal each other out or balance each other out in the end. But of course, you do as you like. Repeat this with the lining fabrics, 1 centimeter as well, and then top stitch as well. This time I will top stitch on the side piece, but you could also do this with the seam allowance being folded open. Like here I'm showing you what I'm doing. Up on the side piece, so the seam allowance is folded like this. Of course, you can also have them both being folded open. Whatever is best for you, which will reduce bulk in our seams later. So set aside, we'll make the main zipper now. So the main zipper is the same length as the eye pieces. So we have 2 in main and 2 in lining. And we will baste the zipper with 2 zipper pulls, right sides together first. Put the lining piece on top, right side down. And sew this edge with 7mm seam allowance, 1/4 inch. We fold the fabrics wrong sides together and top stitch, and then repeat the same with the other eye pieces and the second edge of our zipper. Don't forget to top stitch here as well. My zipper was slightly longer like always, so never worry like why I always snip the zippers. I like to do it like that, it's just my kind of way. So next we will make the handle. So let's try doing this with the webbing, and I ended up really liking it, so I suggest you to give it a try. It's a really nice look. So I place a strip of Lego fill inside the handle. Of course you can use Decophyllite as well, and then I will simply fold the edges to the center, and secure them with clips. And then I align it centered on my piece of webbing. So the webbing is 60 centimeters, same length as the J piece would be. And then I will center it so there are sides peeking out from the webbing, so it's visible from the top as well. And I will simply sew them together along the long edges. It looks really nice and it has a really nice grip, so try it. Then I will make 2 markings on my handle, 15 centimeters from each short end, 6 inches from each short end, just a small marking. So I will stitch up to this marking. I place it on one eyepiece, so make sure you decide which one should be the back. And don't forget to fold the lining piece out of the way because we don't want this to get caught in our stitches. So place it on top 3 centimeters from the side edge, 1/4 of an inch, and then stitch it on until you get to the marking. Stitch to the side and back down, sew a rectangle. Of course, you can get creative and add some rivets or sew an X. You can do whatever you like to secure your strap or your handle on the eyepiece on the main gusset. Now repeat on the other side as well. Stitch until you get to the marking and sew a rectangle to connect the handle to the piece. Now you can fold the lining back and get the bottom and side piece that we just made before and sew them together. So we will take the main fabrics, align the short edges here, right sides together, and then take the lining piece and place it underneath. So you can remember lining on lining, main on main, right sides together. Sew this edge with 1 centimeter seam allowance, 3/8 inch seam allowance. I made extra stitches to give the handle more security. Fold the fabrics right sides together and top stitch. Repeat on the other short edge. Do it exactly the same way. Make sure nothing is twisted. So when everything's top stitched, you can attach your bias to the gusset before assembly as well. So to make the back, we will start with the laptop pocket. So the interior pieces are shown here, all the pieces that are required for the laptop pocket. So make sure you transfer the markings from the pattern piece so you know where to fold the sides to the wrong side. Give it a press and top stitch, and also use the tunnel. Fold 1 centimeter to the left side on each short end and top stitch as well. Align both pieces at the top edge on the center. And then place the other piece from the laptop pocket centered on top, right side down. And then sew this edge with 1 centimeter, 3/8 inch seam allowance. Fold the fabrics up. The seam allowance should look towards the bottom, and top stitch on the bottom piece and baste the top edge as well. Take the remaining laptop pocket piece, mark the center, and place it on top, right side down. Sew this edge with 1 centimeter as well. And then fold it up and top stitch on the top piece. You can now fold the piece in half so it's wrong sides together. Align all outer edges. It might be a bit tricky on the sides because it keeps pulling to the center, and baste the edges together. You can give the top edge a press if you like. And then we will need the remaining A lining piece. Mark the center, and then we place the laptop pocket on top. The laptop pocket is wider, so we will start aligning the left side first. See, the center is not on top of each other, and we will baste only the side until we get to the curve, so we leave the bottom unstitched. Now we repeat this with the other side edge, and the outer edges from both pieces should be aligned. The top should not stand over the edge. Make sure the top edge is straight, and baste the second side in place as well. Now we have to align the bottom centers and create two folds, while the center should stay in the center. So create the fold so all outer edges align nicely, and baste this together. Next, we will need a piece of elastic. So this one is 32 centimeters, 12.5 inches long, and I will thread it through the tunnel right here. If you're having troubles, you can also use like what's this needle, security pin, safety pin, and attach it to one end. It's easier to push through them, but it should be tall enough to get it through without a problem. Then align the side edges and baste the elastic in place. So the lining piece for the back is done. We will now take care of the exterior piece. So we do need 2 straps and our webbing. And to make the straps, I've used foam to cushion them nicely. Remember, 2 sets. The tops are gonna be interfaced with Deco-Fill-Lite. So you place them wrong side up, put the foam without seam allowance on top, and then put the second set, which will be on the bottom later, right side up on top. Then baste along the edges, so the foam is not sewn in yet, and that's why I will sew down a center line. So I will mark the center with some chalk or fabric marker. You could also take the pattern piece and align it so you can draw the curve on there nicely. You just need to adjust a little bit. And the reason for that is I don't want my foam to get like twisted and or shifted to one side. So if you stitch down the center, it should stay in place nicely. I use binding from my outdoor fabric, and I will attach it with 7mm seam allowance simply because I like the look of it if it's not too thick. So I will stitch it on there, right sides together, and then fold the raw edge towards the center and fold over again. So in this step, I've sewn the edge with the correct seam allowance, also connecting not all of the foam to it, but it's safe and secure through the middle stitch. And then you top stitch your bias, and of course you will make a second one just mirrored. We can now attach the webbing to the strap. So we will need 2 pieces, each being 22 centimeters, ideal ½ inches long. And we will need the top bar from our slider and thread the webbing on there. Fold the end over a little bit, like maybe 2 centimeters, and secure it with a clip. So before you attach it, do the same thing to the second one and make sure it's not upside down. So this is the down, this is the upside, or let's say the front and the back. Because if you put it on there in the wrong way, if your backpack is packed with like heavy stuff and you just simply lift it just a tiny bit, the slider won't stay in place. So that's quite important to do this the right way. So I compare them so that they have the same length, and then I will attach the fold over with some stitches. Then I will fold over the top edge to the wrong side, to the back, and place it on a strap. Before I do that, I'll compare the length so they are nicely synchronized that they have the same length. And then following the curve, I will place it on a strap. You also find a marking on the pattern piece on where to place them exactly. And then I will stitch them on in a square with an X on the inside, because this might be pulled on a lot. So if you make an X top stitch, it will give more strength. Now we need the triangles and 2 pieces of webbing, each being 55 centimeters long, 21 inches. And I will place them in the center fold like this, with the edge, with the end standing over about 1 centimeter. And you will make 2 of them, of course, and they will be mirrored as well. So secure it in the fold, the other one as well, and then sew this edge that I'm about to show you with 1 centimeter seam allowance. I've also made some extra stitches on the webbing for extra strength. Then you turn them right side out and decide which side you like better. And the second one too, and baste together all the open edge and top stitch in a triangular shape, mirrored. This is the A main piece, and I will give it some more cushioning with foam, so I will baste this together. If you have foam that is self-adhesive, of course you don't need to cut it with seam allowance. You just trim them off by only like the dig of a light without seam allowance and stick it onto your piece to the wrong side. Mark the center on the top and the bottom, and first we will attach the top straps, the big ones, the large ones. So if you're having troubles aligning them, use the markings on the pattern piece, but just keep a little gap in the center. You have your center marked, so make sure it's in the same space to each strap, and baste it in place. Attach the bottom connector, the strap connectors, like that. You'll find a marking on where to place them on the pattern piece as well. I think this is 15 centimeters. I'm not sure how much inches this is from the bottom edge, to be honest. 6, I guess. Yeah, it should be 6 inches. And baste everything in place and trim off the fabric that is standing over the edge. Of course, do it from this side. This is a bit more clever, so you see where to cut, okay? Attach your lining piece, wrong sides together, and baste everything together. Make sure the webbing is not caught in the seams. Before assembly, I strongly suggest you to put everything together like in a little package so it doesn't get sewn into your piece, the sides and everything, into the seams when you assemble this piece. So make sure everything's out of the way. So the last big step is the final assembly. So if you made it with the zipper or not is the same process. Just here is a zipper included. So with all the centers marked, the top and bottom, make sure not to connect the side with the handle to the front because you need to attach it to the back. So now we will take the edge without the handle, align the top and bottom centers, and secure this with clips. Right sides together, of course. And take your time for this step. The gusset should fit the piece nicely. I suggest you to make small snips into the gusset piece where it's over the curved bottom edges. Just tiny snips that will be within seam allowance, of course, and then align all edges. Baste them first, then sew a second round with 7mm seam allowance since we have the zipper here included as well. So baste first, then sew with the correct seam allowance. Check your seams if you got everything caught in the seams nicely. And then close the bias. After it is back, you'll be a pro in binding, I promise you that. Okay, looks good. Now we will attach the back. That is done in exactly the same way. Put them right sides together. This time you will align the edge with the handle. Start at the top and bottom centers. Make small snips into the gusset where it's over the curves and secure everything with clips. The only difference this time is we are not going to sew with 7mm seam allowance. We will baste first as well, and then we will sew with 1cm seam allowance since we don't have a gusset, a zipper here in this piece, just fabric on fabric. So we use 1cm seam allowance and close the bias. And now for the best part, turn your bag right side out. This is just always so exciting. This is really my favorite moment to finally see it. So push out everything nicely, shape the edges, maybe give it a press, close all the zippers and see if everything is closing nicely. And then there's just one last step. We need to thread the bottom straps through the sliders. So make sure it's not twisted. From the back to the front onto the second bar, and then fold the end over twice and secure with stitches, and then you are done. So I really hope you like your new big bubble bag and it will fit everything that you need to bring along your travels, to work, or wherever you're going to take this. Maybe you make this a diaper bag too. That's a great idea as well. And I know this is not an easy project. This is an advanced pattern for experienced bag makers. And yes, show me your results. I love to see your makes. So post them on Facebook, Social Bag Makers, if you like. And I hope we get to sew many more bags together. I would love to. So I hope to see you around soon again for more bag making.